What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast. It's a little bit of a different episode this week. I'm in Atlanta interviewing with the Falcons right now, so me and Shane weren't able to film together, so I figured I would at least get you guys an episode. We're going to talk Week 14 in the NFL, some of the injuries that happened, some of the playoff races that are getting tighter, and just some fantasy stuff too with some of the injuries and with the playoffs starting this week or last week, whichever your league follows. So we're gonna hop right into it right now, starting with some of the injuries. We saw some major fantasy implications be affected this week for the playoffs. You had CeeDee Lamb go down with a concussion, which looked like not a very good one. I personally have him on my team, and it doesn't look good. I've heard from a lot of reports that it looks like he could be done for the year. When you see his hands do what he did, and then he sat up right away, I've heard it's similar to that Tua injury that Tua Tagovailoa suffered, and so it's likely that he'll be out a couple weeks, most likely out the rest of the season, depending on how the Cowboys end up doing. For all you fantasy managers like myself, I'm picking up Ryan Flanoy this week. In that game, he had 9 catches on 110 yards with a touchdown. With CD going down, he's going to step right in there. George Pickens is going to be the one. Ryan Flanoy, he's going to be that too. So look to add him as a waiver wire if you're in the playoffs. You're looking for someone to take his place. He's a good add. Another big injury we had was Daniel Jones going down. He's out for the rest of the season with that Achilles. Another non-contact injury for Daniel Jones. Back when he was with the Giants, it was the ACL. Now it's the Achilles. You hate to see it. And for the Colts, they were looking so good. The division looked like it was theirs to lose. And now you have the Jaguars, who are sitting atop the division, and now you're rocking with rookie quarterback Riley Leonard. So I'm not really sure how that's going to go. Riley didn't look terrible in his debut, in my opinion. Maybe with a week of practice under his belt, it might help him. But I would temper any expectations for any Colts players moving forward. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce. I know Pittman, he was his favorite target, so potentially Pittman is someone who's still worth considering. Obviously, you have to start Tyler Warren, you have to start Jonathan Taylor. They're still for sure starts for me, but I think maybe look at Pittman, but definitely be tempering your expectations on the Colts with Daniel Jones going down. And then the last one, not really any fantasy implications, but you see Zach Ertz go down. That injury just looked awful. You watch the replay of it. Not even his leg was planted, just the hit in the air. And for someone who's had such a great career with the Eagles and with the Commanders now, and you just see something like that happen to him, it's tough to tell if it's going to be career ending for him. Hopefully he can get healthy and get back. If you had Zach Ertz, I doubt Harold Fannin is still there, but he's a waiver wire. Juwan Johnson, the way Tyler Shook is starting to seem like he's hitting a rhythm a little bit. Maybe look to bring in Juwan Johnson too. But those are just some guys, if you were rocking with Zach Ertz in a deeper league, some guys you might be able to go out and get. So those are kind of like the main injuries with fantasy. Those are some of the guys that I'd recommend getting. But what I really want to talk about and get into is the playoff and some of the teams that we're looking at. And I think we're in some uncharted territories for us, for someone of my generation. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, if the season ended today, would not make the playoffs. It's crazy to me. At the beginning of the season, the Chiefs obviously were in the Super Bowl last year, and the Ravens, we knew how they are. Lamar could have won MVP last year. Derrick Henry looked good. Their defense looked like a top 3 defense in the NFL. And now you're sitting there and you're saying we're a game behind the Steelers, losing the tiebreaker. The Chiefs cannot win their division for the first time in 9 years. They will not win the AFC West. And so you're sitting there saying, the Chiefs, they just can't seem to win a game. Like, what is going on over there? I don't know what it is, because it doesn't seem like, the injuries aren't really hurting them. They have their guys back. but they just can't seem to win. It just seems like it's one of those things where it's not their year. I wouldn't doubt that they still make it. I think there's still a real chance that they get in just based on their schedule. And yeah, I think it's just the Chiefs. I think they'll find ways to win. Pretty much every game from here on out's a playoff game, and you know how they always show up in the playoffs. So I still think they will make the playoffs, but I think it is really interesting territory that they're entering into. And I think with the Ravens, with what they're doing, I just don't know what's happening. Lamar just doesn't look himself. He's not running the ball like normal, and it's just shocking to see, honestly. I had Lamar Jackson. I traded him away in what a lot of people thought was a dumb trade, but I just didn't trust him coming back from his injury with his running, and it ended up paying off for me so far. So we'll see what happens with him moving forward. But, I mean, you got teams like the Browns, and you got teams like the Jets, you got teams like the Titans right now. The Titans getting a big win this week, giving my New York Giants right now the projected #1 overall pick. So we're super excited about that. Hopefully we don't mess it up and beat the Raiders or beat someone we shouldn't. We still play the Commanders, which they look terrible too. So that could end up hurting us a lot, but we'll see. I'm really hoping that the Giants don't go and screw this up for us. But it's interesting to see what'll all happen. We're going to get into some really fun drafts. Me and Shane are big on the NFL draft, so we're going to get into some really fun episodes come the off season about those kind of things, so stay tuned for those. But yeah, we're just really excited for that. I hope the Giants can keep losing. I think the Jets, they looked terrible, and now who knows what's going to happen with Tyrod. The Jets probably might not win another game. The Raiders probably won't win another game with, I think they're moving on from Geno, I would think. And so, you know, we'll see what happens there. But I think the big playoff pictures that I think are really interesting to look at here is the one we've been talking about for weeks now, is the Panthers. We said it back in, I think it was like week 10 or week 9, and we said it's just kind of as like an afterthought. It's just kind of like, it's out there. It's a far-fetched idea. And now we're sitting here, right? I'm looking at it right now. Right, we're sitting here. The Panthers and the Bucks, they're tied in their division, right? They're both 7-6. Tampa Bay is the tiebreaker because of their divisional record right now, or their conference record. But they still play each other week 16 and week 18. So there's 4 games left, right? That's going to decide the division. And we're sitting here. The Panthers looked like one of the worst teams over the past couple years. They could be making the playoffs, and we have teams like the Chiefs and Ravens not make the playoffs. This is really a crazy NFL season. You got the Patriots probably going to win their division. And so all of the favorites that looked like they should be the Super Bowl favorites this year, you got the Packers, who just got a win against the Bears, but they still play the Bears at the Bears, I think in 2 weeks, in week 16. And if the Bears win that, the Bears reclaim the division, and like that means that could go either way. The Packers, thankfully, I think they have a better division record because they were able to beat the Lions twice, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, I think it could go either way there. I still think the Packers are the better team. I mean, it's tough to attribute the Bears' success to anyone besides Ben Johnson. Obviously, you have to give Caleb Williams his flowers for his progress, right, and stuff like that. But man, it's tough to say it's not Ben Johnson. And you see what you can happen when you get a really good coach in there. And as a Giants fan, I'm hoping that that's the case, right? You have rookie Jackson Dart. He comes back next year. You got Malik Neighbors. You get him another receiver target, like they got Rome and DJ Moore, who's obviously not affecting that much. But you have Rome there, right? You got a young tight end who's solid. You get Kyle Monungai and DeAndre Swift. We have Scatabo and Tracy. And, you know, you booster up the old line. You get a couple of defenders. And the Giants could be that team next year. And so I think you have to give it to the Bears and the culture they're building over there in a division where I thought they were for sure going to be last. They're fighting for the top of it. And so I'm super impressed with that. I think all 3 of those teams, the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions, are all playoff teams. I think they're all really good. They all have a chance to win it. So I think that division's getting really interesting. I think the Rams and the Seahawks both, I think they just look really, really special right now. I think the Rams, their offense is just one of the most high-powering offenses in the league. You see the numbers they put in, week out. JSN, my guy, I knew he had a stinker last week. and he was going to bounce back this week for the Seahawks. They put up 30 plus against the Falcons, who, you know, aren't having the best of years, but still 30 points week in, week out for the Seahawks. Like, I think the NFC is so interesting right now. You really do have, like, if you're asking me, you have the Eagles, the Packers, the Bears, the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, and you want to throw in the 49ers there. That's 7 legit teams that I think any one of them, I could understand them coming out of the conference, right? In the AFC, I really don't see that many, right? You have the Patriots, you have the Bills, but, like, I don't trust the Steelers. I don't trust the Ravens. You have the Jaguars. I don't trust them. The Texans, their defense is elite, but can they figure out the run game? Can C.J. Stroud put it all together? I don't know. I think their defense is going to keep them in games, but will they win championships? Will they win playoff games? I don't think so, this year at least. And then you got to say the Broncos and the Chargers. I think the Chargers are an interesting team. I'm not fully backing them. Herbert, I'm filming this Monday before the game, so I haven't seen the Chargers-Eagles game yet. So we'll see what ends up happening with that, if Herbert plays or not, if he comes back, how healthy he is. But I don't really trust the Chargers too much. And so, I mean, in the AFC, you're really looking at, in my opinion, the Patriots, the Bills, and maybe the Broncos, you can say. But I really think it's going to be an NFC matchup there to see who makes it to the Super Bowl. And I don't back the Patriots. So you really say that division, like, or that conference, the AFC, I don't really know who to give it to, because the Bills, their weapons are questionable, right? Who are they going to throw to? And so I don't know. I think the AFC is wide open for the opposite reasons of it just not being as competitive. In my opinion, I think the winner is 100% coming from the NFC this year. I just think the NFC teams look way too dominant. They look way too good. Their offenses are just really, really strong. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'm interested to see in these next couple weeks. We've got 4 weeks left of the regular season, boys. So I know this was a little bit of a different episode, maybe not as interesting to have Shane here. But I appreciate you boys watching. I thank you. We appreciate all of the love and all the views. Everything means a lot to us. We want to keep pumping out content, and we didn't want to leave a week without any content out there. So I'm going to post this. You should be seeing this probably Tuesday for most of you guys, and we're going to get a picks one out there. So don't worry, we're not going to leave you guys hanging. We'll make sure we take care of you on that front too. So be sure to look out for that one. That should be coming on Thursday. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next week. Peace.